Solomon, thank you so much for making our time to come. And I really appreciate this opportunity and your willingness to help businesses across Africa. You now have the floor. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Shola Matthew. I'm so grateful for this opportunity, and thanks for inviting me to do this. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon from Lagos, Nigeria. My name is Solomon Awosupin. I'll run through the intro in a bit. Um, Graciously, I've been invited to speak to you on a topic that I like by showing what you would see on my screen. There is this CEO of Ekiti Mall who's currently seeking help. You can see the help shout on the screen, right? He's really bothered. He doesn't know who his customers are. He has a small, which he recently opened, right? And he's so bothered about the buying patterns of his customer. He's bothered about why some of the customers are not buying. He doesn't know where they are coming from, where they are visiting from. He doesn't know what language they speak. And for him, he doesn't know how he can even drive business growth for that business. So here is a CEO that we are all going to help. So I like by starting with the story because at the end of this session, I hope that we can answer some of the questions that this particular CEO has in mind. Also, some of the questions he had that is not even on screen right now includes what marketing channel actually works, where it should be positioned in his where it could be positioned in his business, what channel would be of the most impact, what sort of products should be displayed in the Ekiti Mall, right? Those are some of the concerns that our CEO has in mind. And throughout this session, we'll definitely uncover this together. I'll move on quickly. And usually to help him, top of mind, we'll think, what, let's just hear his questions, or let's tell him, all we know about running businesses or running malls everywhere. We are likely to come and tell him, what, in Lagos there is Ikeja City Mall in Ikeja, and this is what they do. They have ABC shops. One of the questions the CEO might actually have had is, what sort of businesses should they have in the mall? Ekiti is a different region. Ado Ekiti is a different region with different consumer behaviors, right? I could say, for example, as an undergraduate in Ekiti State University, during my undergraduate years, as Shola mentioned earlier, one of my favorite snack was, the kuli kuli you get at Iworoko, right? So let's assume there was a large set of people, who were really interested in purchasing kuli kuli. It would be helpful. Having data to show that there was a huge demand for kuli kuli might be helpful for our CEO, the CEO of Ekiti Mall, to understand that having kuli kuli in one of his shops or in the supermarket, right, would be a major product that would maybe drive the biggest sales. But usually, when we are tasked with approaching kind of problem, it's less about showing them just the numbers, right? It's more about what numbers matter, right? What sort of metrics would be helpful, right, to help our CEO solve some of the problems he has, and how do we make or deduce insights from these numbers, right? And how does this impact him? How does this impact his business? How does this impact the objective he has in mind? Usually, I like to introduce this entire session by starting with one of a particular advice from one of my mentors, a Googler, who's also analytical evangelist globally for Google, right? His name is Avinash Kaushik, right? He's a data guru. He's known for this. He's been doing this way before I have been. And the advice he gives to business leaders, and when I'm saying business leaders, I'm talking about CEOs, CTOs, CBOs, chief business officers, head of marketing for very large global organization. It's usually the 90%, the 90-10 rule, which is spend 10% of your money buying tools for measuring data, but invest more in people and in analysis. Because those two things, if you invest more in analysis and in people that understand how to run analysis for you, down the line as a business, this would help you grow. And I think in the next couple of slides, I would walk through, how this is actually impactful. So today's topic, My name is Solomon Awosupin. I currently work at Google as analytical consultant. And basically, what I do is support businesses across Africa, ranging from retail to FMCGs to banks to insurance companies across telcos, across our key markets in Africa, with data powered insight, basically. And you can follow me on Twitter or any of the social media and do at underscore Olalire, right? At underscore Olalire. So I'll dive right into today's talk by defining a particular this number, right? So according to a study by the Harvard Business School online, the found out that 7 in 10 global enterprise, so 7 in 10 global companies have huge plans in the next in this year and in coming years to spend a lot more money on data analytics, and that means a lot. So be it you're there, you're maybe an undergraduate still thinking, what areas can I look at as potential opportunities or career opportunities. I mean, this shows, if a lot of investments go with data analytics, that means there's a lot of opportunity there. And if business leaders globally are thinking of spending more money, if in 10 leaders, 7 think it is really, really important to spend money on data analytics, then as small business owners, if you're one on this call, it is very, very important to invest or think about investing in data as a segue to drive growth for you and for your business. Also, following on that, there's also a particular stats also by the same Harvard Business School online, showing how other companies, how these companies, we've talked about 7 in 10 companies, about 70% of the world companies globally, right? And most of these companies actually think that they are leveraging data, that data helps them to boost their processes, to boost their cost efficiency. So meaning that they are better informed around, what product line would drive the most growth for them, what area within their business they have to focus more on. If there are challenges from an HR point of view, data is a very unique piece in helping to make clear and distinct decisions around areas that can drive the most growth for them. Also, these people also believe that about some of them, so about half of that population, more than half of the population, think that data is useful for driving strategy and change, right? We all recipients of the pandemic since last year or since the end of 2019. And we saw the change that happened, how some businesses suffered out there, some businesses revenue just nosedived, how some have grown, how some are still recovering as of today, right? Segments like the travel industry, still trying to recover, right? And also during that same period, we see technology companies and some other sectors like the consumer FMCGs, seeing some level of growth, right? During the pandemic, it was imminent for businesses to change their processes, to pivot in some cases, to identify ways to still drive growth, right? So, for example, prior to the pandemic, a lot of us, go to the physical malls and shops to buy food and all. But during the lockdown, when we were all stuck in our household, in our houses, I was one of the. I for one started looking for ways to order food online, right? So you saw growth in those areas. You would see people now looking to order cooked, home cooked delicacies. Some people cook and have that shipped to other people. So there was a lot of change. So imagine you were a business that was in the lockdown, your business was affected. Your restaurant was closed down. You were basically not making any money. Been able to do at that period as part of helping you would be to showcase the opportunity, where the opportunity is, and how to plug into that. Say digital, right? And leveraging digital technologies, basically. I think the third piece, around what this leader said, was how data has helped them in monitoring and improving their financial performance, right? How analyzing, their financial performance in the previous year versus this year, and understanding areas to, invest more in or invest less in has helped to drive growth for them or deliver growth for them. So this is what some global companies are saying. And if we see big companies thinking this way, it is really, really important for businesses that are really looking to go global from Nigeria, from Ekiti. It's really important for them to also leverage this change in leverage data in their business to drive the most change for them and for their business. And it's all encompassing. I'll start by defining data analytics, right? And this is just one definition. I know there are multiple definitions, but data analytics refers to processes, to tools that is required to help you process, like a set of data, to process information to what is most important. So, for example, I see the data of maybe the population of students in primary school, right? So I have to give access to that data. Um, um, and looking at that data and maybe their performance in the last exam, looking at that data and maybe comparing that with the previous year or some data of their performance in the year before, I could maybe come up with an insight such as students in primary one tend students in primary one living in maybe Ekiti or Ado Ekiti, depending on what the studies carry out, are likely to struggle with mathematics. And here's why. Maybe there's a deficient, so maybe there's there's deficit in the number of math teachers you have in that region, or their math curriculum is not up to date. I mean, having access to the data of those student performance and maybe interpreting that with a couple of metrics would be helpful in determining, for example, how to answer questions such as how do we help grow the performance of the students? How do we help improve their performance specific to mathematics? Or how do we, maybe help them be much more excited about academics? For example, and I think another example is this. Data analytics also is, and I think it's back home, maybe to a family setting. Running a survey, for example, to understand why everyone loves mommy, right? So let's assume there's a family with 5 kids, and by running the survey with a set of questions, right? We're able to determine, I mean, it's an assumption to say, most people actually like mommy, right? In this family, we could understand what factors responsible for that excitement or for that love for mommy, right? Could it be because mommy is quite nice, she feeds everybody at the right time and all, but are there other areas? I think also similar to a business. Analytics is, where you look at your spreadsheet, your balance sheet, and understand, okay, what particular line of product is moving. So let's think of ShopRite as an example. Okay, ShopRite sells multiple products, from groceries to sanitary items to beverages to wines to toys and all, right? One of the things that analytics can help a store like ShopRite to do is to evaluate what product line moves the most, right? Also, they can also maybe answer questions like, at what point of the month this is say a spike in sale, but not just a spike in sale generally. They could even go as far as saying a spike in sales for specific category of products or for specific product lines, right? But they could even go further to say, okay, you know what? Now that we understand, there's a spike in product lines for this, but we want to understand why customers come back to buy this product, or what other products we can sell to customers that buy toys. So one of the things that data analytics can also help a business like ShopRite to do is to say, okay, now we have been seeing a lot of interest in sales of toys or in customers buying toys, right? And now we understanding the demography of the customers within that same bracket, like their age and gender, understanding where they are from, understanding what they've described themselves to be or to identify with, the religion or culture they've identified with, we have been able to say, I mean, we can come up, maybe we can come up with an assertion to say that um, to say that customers that buy toys are most likely to be interested in buying electronics. And then while customers are looking to shop for toys, we can then rearrange our store to have electronics maybe displayed around the same area, such that while they're shopping, they actually come across this product and they are likely to add it to cart during checkout. So this is how this actually comes in and comes in helpful. I'll go on to explain more. So data analytics and business analytics are very similar. I mean, one is just the processes involved in putting data together and interpreting and bringing in, like generating important insights from them. But then business analytics goes the extra mile and it's specific to business. Uses your the data you already have access to. And by data, you have access to data from your POS system, your point of sale systems. You have data maybe from your social media pages. You have data maybe from your online advertising platform. You have maybe data from your website if you have one. All of these data, bringing them together and making sense, using that to make informed decisions as a business owner for where and how you can grow your business, or grow a particular line item as part of driving growth for you and for your stakeholders. I'll quickly breeze through this also. I'll talk briefly about the benefits of data analytics, right? So data analytics, I think one major benefit is revenue, right? With clear understanding and use of business analytics, you are likely to grow your revenue. A recent study by BARC found that businesses who are able to quantify their gains from analyzing data reports, I've been seen to grow by 8% on the average. I've seen 8% increase in their revenue. So these are businesses that have been succeeding, are doing well. But I decided to spend a little more money, invest in data analysis, in trying to connect, what we describe as their first-party data, maybe it's their own sales data, their own internal data, maybe with some third-party data, being able to, use that to see, what other decisions can we make. This study say that if we've been able to see such businesses grow by as much as 8%, and they've also been able to reduce, costs of production by 10%, right? This is just some benefit, right? And I can maybe also tie this back to another storyline. You could, already as let's say one of the persons we have on this call is a boutique owner based in Ajilosun, Ekiti, right? And this particular person, has a Facebook page, has an Instagram page, runs ads on Instagram, but also maybe advertises on Google, uses Google My Business, for example, to bring traffic into their store. But over and above that, they also have a website where users can see what they sell. Now, they have all of these touch points. Now, one of the things they could benefit from if they were tracking, users' interaction with all of those online platforms is to find which of those platforms, from a marketing point of view, works better, and then spend more on that platform, right? That's one. Two is using data. So, for example, if they had an e-commerce page, right, and this person has a boutique, they could identify that during year on year, during the rainy season, there's more demand for a particular line of product, which may not be top of mind. Interestingly, I know during the lockdown last year, there was people generally go to the supermarkets to shop for groceries, for food, right? But during that period, there was a spike. If you just go on Google Trends and check, there was a spike in demand for grocery products online. Now, if looking through that your boutique store online, you've been able to see that before then, before now, people usually shop for, maybe you have more women shopping for products. You also have men shopping for products, but the few men that come on your website, after going through the first page, almost exits immediately, right? You can then go further to infer as to the reason why they are exiting after entering, maybe after spending like 1 minute or 60 seconds or 30 seconds on your page, and why the women follow through. One of the reasons could be, okay, maybe you have your website displays a lot more feminine products, and when a man lands, or a male customer lands on your website, they are met with like a plethora of female products. Maybe that clouds their thoughts and makes them think, oh, this is maybe a stuff for female. That could be a thing. That could be one of the insights that generate from there, and then you can use that insight to maybe redesign the website and position yourself more to male customers, or even sell to more male customers. Another way again to look at this is your offline data. So you are still this boutique store, but in your offline shop, you have more men coming in to buy from you than women, right? Or you have more students coming to buy from you in your physical store. But online, you see more married people, coming to buy from you. One of the insights you can take away from there is, would it make more sense to find a way to ensure that my online audience, my site is optimized very well for students, so they can also come online? Or is there a need to maybe invest online to drive more traffic? So and that could be an offshoot of maybe another data point. So maybe another data point says that the cost of acquiring a customer offline maybe is 100 naira, but of acquiring a customer online is 50 naira, right? And you see that a lot of the customers are coming offline, but you're spending a lot to bring them in, right? And you've identified that online could help you reduce your cost. Maybe it's understanding the behavior of those customers that come offline, and understanding which online channels can reach them, and how can you then use online and spend that your 15 naira online and reach the same amount of customers, same set of customers. I think the last bit around growing revenue is, you have customers coming to your store online. With data, you can understand their behavior, use some of those data to help all of your online platforms to reach customers like this same set of customers, right? Most advertising platforms like Google and Facebook have this feature, so that's customer match, where you can connect, based on the behaviors of customers that you have online, or based on the information you have, you can use that to reach customers that are very, very similar to them, that behave in similar, have similar online behavior as those customers. So yeah, that's just one piece of how your business analytics actually help you grow your revenue as a business. The second piece is around improving operational efficiency. A report by KPMG found that many firms are now using predictive analytics to anticipate, maintenance and operational issues, even before they become larger problems. So predictive analysis, which I will get to in a bit, would be you leveraging data you already have from the past and using that to extrapolate, what the trend will look like in future. So, for example, maybe over time you've been seeing that you've been getting a lot of Christian female customers between the ages of 18 and 24 buying from you, right? And every year that is growing by 2%. You can then do an extrapolation to say that, in 5 years' time, that number would have grown to maybe a million. And then you can go back to your stakeholders and your investors to say, guys, you know what? We need investment. We need to invest in infrastructure. We need to prepare for this period, because period is coming. So by year 3, in the next 3 years, we should be ready to have a store that can fully satisfy the needs of customers that we are likely to get by year 2025. That's also another way that data helps to improve your operational efficiency. Another way again is, you're a store owner, right? A particular line of product has been going out really fast. Using data, you can understand the sort of lookalike product that you can also position. You can understand which product line item to stop investing in. You can also identify, the reason, right, why people prefer a particular product, and if there is if your company was like a CHI that has a farm and maybe raises chicken and everything, with data, you can go back and say, you know what, we've made you goats, but we see that there's demand for something to take you goats with, right? what other processes do we have? Do we have like a poultry that can produce, something that is snackable that other people can eat with their yogurt, and that's for you, it's another line of business. But this is you improving on your current processes and making clear decisions that's helping you to drive business good for you. I think another final area around it is improving customer experience. So one of the things data could help you get is understand, I'm trying to be conscious of time. I'm 29 minutes in, so I'm just going to rush through. Also understand, say, the experience of your customers in store. So you could run surveys to see what your customers enjoy so much. For example, you may have been investing so much in buying more chairs. Meanwhile, your customers just like to come into your space, stand and maybe enjoy the ambience. Maybe your customers, for example, enjoy the artwork you have, the entire aesthetics you have in your space. If that's the thing, run the survey. That data will definitely help to really inform the direction to which you should involve and you should invest, and overall growing how much people enjoy the experience they have inside of your store. And this applies in every facet: online, offline, in finance, in every other area. I think the final piece around the benefit of business analytics is in making informed decisions, right? So with data, for example, you can do an A/B test. You can say, what, I'm planning to launch a product, maybe a new product, say maybe a business card A and a business card B, right? And the difference between business card A and business card B, maybe is the thickness, for example. And then you could decide to run an A/B test, get feedback from your customers around, okay, what they think, their passion of the product. And using that sort of testing model, you can use that to inform your decisions around, the design of the product, which areas to invest more in, if it makes sense to discontinue a particular line of cards and focus more on different line of cards. These are the sort of things that business analytics can actually help you do. Another example that is described on that making informed decisions is the case of Uber that used data. Recently, according to a study, Uber used data to improve the speed and accuracy to which they respond to support tickets from like drivers and from customers. So as opposed to taking time to say, okay, why did you cancel this ride? What's the problem? They're able to aggregate all the data of different customers, identify that, okay, a lot of customers actually say that this ride was cancelled because the driver decided to cancel by himself, or because it's far away, or because he's making ridiculous demand, such as cash trip or card trip. So these are sort of things that data actually helps you do. There are three primary methods using business analytics. One is descriptive, second is predictive, and prescriptive. I'll breeze through them, right? All of these are things you should actually take in a very, very long session. I'm just going to breeze through them quickly so we have enough time for questions. So descriptive data would be you interpreting historical data and using that to identify trends and patterns. So, for example, me looking at how do patients how has the behavior of patients suffering from malaria in Nigeria, how has it evolved since 2018 till now, right? How has it evolved? As symptoms increased, right? Have they, as the kind of drug they take increase, as the milligram of, like the drug content had to grow over time, based on the way it's been taken and all of that. So it's basically using the historical data of these people's behavior to say, what, guys, this is how people have been behaving, and this basically tells us that maybe we should be thinking of creating a new drug for malaria, or maybe we've actually defeated malaria completely in Nigeria, and we no longer need to invest in malaria anymore. So for me, that's one of the things that the descriptive method in business analytics can actually help you do. Allows you, just from the word described, helps you to look at historical data, interpret it, and identify the trends and pattern. So also another pattern could be with data, you need to see that between January and December of every year, it's usually rain in May, right? And even though climate is changing, it is still between May and June. That's something that data sort of helps. Those are basic things, but this can be really, really, really like deep when applied to business. So I'll just think of one quick example from a business point of view. Um, so descriptive data is you looking at your trend, maybe since the beginning of this year up until now, for like your advertisement on social media, and saying, looking at the way people actually click on posts that have green color and posts that have red color. It seems that people like our associate our brand more with red color. So maybe we should, do more when it comes to our creatives, like do more creative with red inside of it. The second piece around methods in business analytics is predictive, right? And predictive is forecasting. So using existing data or using models to predict, what's likely to change in the future, right? So basically using statistics, measure of central tendency, bias theorem, and a bunch of other rules to determine and forecast what future outcomes could look like, right? Maybe using a regression model, for example, to determine, okay, you know what, in previous years we've been seeing our sales grow by 5%, but with COVID happening, we know that we'll be seeing about 10%, or maybe if even go up to 50% in 5 years' time. So it's making predictions, but using data to make predictions. And that's another interesting thing that you can do as a data analyst. The last one is in prescription similar to drugs, right? Which is basically the application of testing and other techniques to determine which outcome will lead the best result in a given scenario. An example is A/B testing. And you can spend some time reading about this after now. So let's say you're a developer and you work for a company, and you've been doing this website, but then when you launched it, it didn't go so well. As opposed to launching it and getting feedback around, the fact that customers don't like it, or the color choices were not so great, or maybe it was too text heavy and all of that. The team could have decided, to do an A/B test, build a website with fewer colors and maybe fewer tests, and another website with more colors and maybe a lot of tests, a lot of text, and then share this to maybe select a controlled group and let them go through it as A/B. So segment A is A, another segment B, and segment A and B provide feedback around what they think around the product, right? That could really inform and reduce the resources you have spent releasing that initial website before understanding what consumers' behavior are, or feedback are on that particular website, before building a new one, or like building a new product. You could have just built like the barest minimum, or a sketch, or a wireframe of each of these products, and gotten the most from that point of view of how useful this is to customers, and which of the products is likely to fly and convert the most customers. Moving on quickly, I think usually whenever I run a session like this, because it's not a data analytics training, it's just an expository around what data can do for you, right? If you're able to leverage its powers. One advice I always go back to tell people is, if right now you don't have any data analytics in your company, for whatever tools you have, make sure you're just collecting data, provided it is legally allowed, right? Any data that does not, infringe on people's rights, on their personal PIs, so personally identifiable information. I would definitely want to encourage you as a business owner, collect the data, because a day will come where you would, be able to pay somebody, or just get a consultant just come in and help you analyze the data, make sense of the data. That day you would see areas that could really be impacting your growth as a business, areas that you could just put a little bit of energy into and would drive the most growth for you as a business. You could easily uncover very, 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 very sweet and important insight into how your customers behave and how you can actually go and scale as a business owner. So if to take out from today's session, or there's one thing I want you to really take away from today's session, is now and going forward, spend more time collecting data. So before I just go on to questions, I want to go back to the case of our CEO of Ekiti, right? With all the questions he had, he could understand who his customers are if he had data around, like maybe what their names are, where they live, their gender, demography, and a data analyst can come in and say, you know what, you have more female, right, who love your brand. Maybe you should invest in that category. Oh, you know what, mothers, female who have kids, are likely interested in your brand. So maybe you should find ways to create very carefully and beautifully tailored messages that appeals to that particular audience. So that's one of the questions that I could actually answer. I think another piece to it is with data, you could also understand, the language, right? So if, for example, you've been writing your ads maybe in English, and you found out tomorrow that a lot of your customers actually speak pidgin, and they can barely read, right? It might make more sense to spend your money or build your creative using the local language. I've seen some really nice ads whenever I travel around Nigeria, like to other part of the southwest, in Yoruba and all of that. And for me, so this is usually very helpful, and this just goes way and above, the banner ads we all see out there. It's you also inculcating it in the culture of the company, making this part and parcel. So if your customers are predominantly Yoruba speakers, how do you make your space, your business, much more appealing to that segment of audience? Okay, so another question that we had on the screen here for the CEO of Ekiti Mall, our fictitious CEO, was where are they visiting from? Maybe looking at his data, he could then find out that a lot of his customers have said they come all the way from Uroko, and he is in Ado, Fajui, right? And because of the distance, they tend to only come on Saturdays, right? But each time they come on Saturday, they buy a whole lot more. And when he ran a survey, he found out that a lot of them are actually willing to buy every day. There are other items they actually need, but they usually decide to buy the other items at nearby stores during the week in Uroko. But then during the weekends, they come down to Ado Town, in Fajui, to buy like the biggest, like to do their massive shopping, right? One of the insights you could take from there, and one of the decisions you could take from there, would be, okay, maybe would it be a good idea to have a mini store in Iwuroko so that our customers in Iwuroko can easily come in and buy from us, right? So they don't need to come to Ado again. So this way we are actually keeping this customer base, and if over time we don't see a lot of opportunities in Fajri, either we downsize that area, or we maybe move or close down that location and open in other locations where there is likelihood of driving more revenue. Anyway, so this for me was what I was looking to talk about today. I hope everybody has been sleeping like the man in the video, or in my GIF, but I would like to take questions right now. Thank you very much for your time, and thanks for listening.
Wow, that was really, really amazing. Guys, let's drop a comment in this comment section. Let's drop our favorite emoji in the comment section to appreciate our speaker. Well, a lot of people have been enjoying it. So, guys, if you have any question, please drop your questions in the comment. I can see Engineer Oni Olua Femi says investing in infrastructure. Good point. So they are just kind of hailing you for those good points. Busui says, I'm happy this is happening in Ekiti. Digital revolution. Yeah, that's good. People are saying, Florence says, good job. Okay, I have, okay, not a question. It says, where Adejoke says, leverage the power of data for business growth is very huge to boost process, cost efficiency, business-driven strategy, change, monitor, and improve financial performance. That's absolutely right. And okay, so people are dropping their favorite emoji. If you have questions, guys, drop your questions in the comment section. So, Solomon, so a quick one. You might want to drop maybe like some tools. And what's the best tool? I know you work with Google, but what is the best tool when it comes to data analysis, right? So someone to especially measure, data using his or her website. What is the best tool that you would recommend? Okay.
Sorry, I was muted earlier.
Okay, no.
Um, thank you. Yeah. So I'd spoken generally around collecting all data, right?
Yeah.
But if you're looking to measure, traffic on your website and all, Google Analytics is a very, very good tool, and there are a lot of help content online on YouTube. There is Google Analytics Academy. There is Skillshare that provides a lot of courses around analytics and how to think through making the most of data for your business, right?
Yeah.
On social media, I know there is Facebook Pixel, and there are tools around that also for tracking and measuring, for measuring interaction with your social media pages.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, if you just search online for tools for measuring maybe clicks, impressions, hashtags, there are tools around that also. That's from a social point of view. But over and above this, I think one thing I've been trying to really, really emphasize on is analytics. Data analytics is super important. You can't. It's for you as a business owner or as someone who works with an organization. It's an area that can help you grow, can help you, improve your efficiency, improve like your business processes, basically in different areas, right? So if at the moment you don't have the resources, leverage on the
Yeah.
free tools that exist. Google Analytics. If you are a supermarket, get the POS systems. And if you don't have money to buy like the physical big hardware because they're expensive, there are apps, apps like Loivas and Co. that you can actually use to track. I think there's Get Bumper also, which is by
Mm-hmm.
a Nigerian developer. So there are tools like this that you can definitely use to keep track of sales, keep track of your processes.
Yeah.
And all it takes is to get one data analyst one day to help you look at the data, and you'll be so surprised as to the impacts that analysis would have on your business. So for me, I think it's important to collect data right now if you don't have the money to analyze it. But if you have a little bit, follow Avinash Kosik's rule in my first few slides. Invest more
Mm.
in people.
Yeah.
Get
90,
somebody.
10 rule.
Yeah, the 90-10 rule. Get someone to actually help you analyze your data, because it could be very, very, it could be an eye opener when you see what you'll be missing out on, from a marketing or sales point of view, by not analyzing the data you currently have access to.
So thank you so much. So who are those people that with that are professionals in data analysis? For example, I own a small business and I use websites, use it to track data. Do I necessarily have to get a professional, so to say, to come and analyze my data before I can say that this actually are the data that work for me?
Thank you very much, Shola.
Mm.
So for a small business, I can understand the resource constraints, maybe to recruit somebody. But if you
Yeah.
have the resources, I'll still take you back to Avinash's rule. Get somebody to
Mm.
analyze data for you, because it could save
Yeah.
you a ton of money and a ton of time, right? Also, it can help improve your business processes. Now, if you don't have the money, maybe you won't spend the time reading and learning more, right? And there are a lot of courses. You can take courses on data analytics and just start the basic ones, right? You could just put your data on the spreadsheets and start, building charts, cleaning up the data. So, for example, it's your sales data, and already you have a column with like your margin and your revenue and your profits. You could try
Mm.
to do quick analysis around which of your products generates the most profit, which has been dropping, which of the products profit has been dropping over time. What can you do more? Is there a particular product line that has a lot of demand but the margin is quite low? What can you do to find maybe similar products, or to also like to maybe understand like the factors guiding the buying decision around that particular product, and the decisions that you can take off based on what that data is telling you to do. So it could be investing in a similar product. So for example, I'm just saying maybe cornflakes, seen a lot of a lot of interest in your store, and you've been selling Kellogg's before now. Now with the demand you've been seeing, you're trying to see how you can reach some other segment. So Look at your data, you've seen that people that can spend up to 20,000 naira per month in your store buy Kellogg's, but people that spend lower than that amount, or maybe 5,000 naira per month in your store, do not usually cannot usually afford Kellogg's. Maybe that data let me inform you to say, you know what about getting other local brands, other cheaper brands, maybe like Nasco and so, to say, you know what, let's have this in our store and see me this newer set of customers, right? And constantly engage with them. I think the final piece, and I know I'm taking too much time on this piece,
Yeah,
is
we'll have to round up right now.
okay. I'll just pause at that. That's fine.
Okay. No, you just conclude your thoughts. All right.
Okay. I think the last piece is for businesses that are predominantly online, on social or with website and all. Right. One thing that could be useful is understanding people's behavior on your website. So Google Analytics is a powerful tool, right? That you can also use to measure like people's buying or conversion journey on your website. So using Google Analytics as an example, you could understand, you know, what number of visitors come to your website, how many of them eventually buys a product and pays for it. Okay, that's fine. Now you know who buys, how many people buys. But then you could even go as far as understanding what affects, like, why are they not buying? Why do I have 1,000 people on my website and only 5 people buying? Is it because of the user experience? Is it that my checkout page is quite long? Is it that my product is not very visible when they're on the page? You know, there are a lot of metrics. You know, they tool like Google Analytics. I can even help you, you know, double click into users' behavior on that website to understand, you know, what's guiding their journey and why are they either purchasing less or purchasing more, and what can I do to either improve that process or even you know, invest more in that process.
All right. Thank you so much, Solomon. You know, one of the things that actually helped us with this summit is actually the data that you really talked about. We actually embedded Google Analytics on our website, and we're looking at where are people actually coming from. You know, what locations should we target the more, like you said earlier, and it helped. But one of the key major things that I learned today is that we should get someone to help us analyze our data following the 90-10 rule. And I'm so happy. Thank you so much for your time. And we hope that next time we will call you, Solomon, you're going to answer us. We know you are very busy as a Google man, but thank you so much and have a nice time. See you on the other side.